Okay, it's Drew Blazik here, and I wanted to show you one of the examples here. This is the debt schedule example, and what we're doing here is I'm showing you not just to solve the debt schedule, what we're solving is the application after the debt schedule is solved, where you plug in. You see in this video, you see where the financing, you see where some of the aspects are grayed out. That's the application of it. So let's get into it. Is what I'm done so far is to do the debt schedule, we have to know is how much cash do we have. Okay, so that's the first thing I've already solved. We're implemented the cash change, and then the total ending balance that's left. Next, what we're implementing here is we're inputting the interest rate and the annual interest income we get from holding on to cash. We want to know that. Once we solve that, and just to let you know, this is normal speed. Once you do this a few times, you get so efficient with this process that you can go very fast. So after we figured out the cash, what we're doing here is we're going into the revolver, and we have to know how much cash we have from operations. We have to know how much cash we have from investing. Get that from the cash flow statement. And then we have to plug in our mandatory debt repayments for variable debt, for fixed debt. And then we want to know our mandatory, are we buying back? Are we issuing new common stock and preferred dividends? So once we do that, or preferred stock, once we do that, we have to find out how much dividends we have. And I plug those in, and I found that in the equity schedule. And we have to put a negative there. I'm going to go across. A couple notes I want to make. The reason why it's grayed out in green, the green is the correct number. The gray means it's not correct yet because there's other numbers we must enter in. Next, what we're going to do here is find out how much the revolver we have found from the balance sheet. And this is the key right here, the additions. We have to do this function, which is a minimum function, and we want to know which one is more of a minimum, which the two values. Is it the cash plus the free cash flow after the mandatory debt repayment and issuing? Or is it how much we have in the revolver and we want to put a negative on the outside? So you see how fast, this is normal speed. I would say this would take you about 5 or 6 times to practice through, and you can get to the speed. And then last, what we're doing with the revolver, we're plugging in the interest rate and finding how much we're paying on debt for the revolver, which is a sweep account, which we're going to automatically pay it back if we have cash. The next two things we're going to do here is we want to find out how much variable debt we have and how much fixed debt. There's two purposes of this. We want to find out how much the balance we have left that we're going to plug into the balance sheet. And we also want to know if we have variable debt and fixed debt. We want to know how much interest, annual interest expense is involved with both of those. So when we talk about the variable and the fixed, you have to look if they have those two debt debt on the balance sheet, and that's where we're going to find out what they have. This is very similar to each other, so it's not a lot. Again, two purposes. We want to find out how much of an expense we're paying, and we're also, what I'm doing right here is doing the corkscrew technique. We want to find out how much total variable and fixed debt we have from if we're repaying the debt or are we issuing new debt. And that's going to give us those balances. And then you see the last part, we're doing the interest rate and to find the expense. And then the last part of the debt schedule, after I complete this part, I'm going to find out what is the net interest expense, the total interest that we have on it. And that is going to be solved by adding up the fixed debt interest payment. And we're going to add those up. The variable debt repayment, add that. The revolver debt repayment or payment expense, and add it. And then I'm going to subtract out is how much we're getting paid on cash. And then that's going to tell me my total net interest expense. Now from here, since we just solved the debt schedule, we're going to go straight up to the balance sheet. We have balances we have to plug in of our projected years. And we find that through the ending balance on the debt schedule. I'm going to plug in the fixed, I'm going to plug in the variable, and that's going to solve my long-term debt, long-term liabilities. Next, I want to find out what is my ending balance on the revolver. Again, that's found in the debt schedule. We have the ending balance by finding out, are we going to repay the revolver? Are we issuing new because we had a shortfall in cash? I'm going to plug it in. Now we're going to go up to the cash flow statement. So I want to know, this is unlike the balance sheet, which is balances, the cash flow statement is the change in cash. That's that minimum function I did. And then the rest is just the repayments from our assumptions page. And I'm just going to plug that in. And if you do it correct to the assumption page, you can just drag that down. It will solve the entire thing for you. And then after we do that, there's only one more thing to plug in. And if you know, I'm going to have to get a total in the finance and cash flow. It's still going to be grayed out. Not everything's going to be gray. And the reason is because we still got the income statement for that total interest expense I have to subtract from the money we made that year. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the interest expense on the income statement, plug that in, and what you'll see is everything will turn green, and we'll look at our grade, and our grade should show 100%. And it looks green. And that's the power. I'm just want to say, it's the power of these sheets, is that it tells you when to do it correct, and you have a reset button that you could practice this until you get the debt schedule complete. Thank you for watching.